Good day, everyone. Ali Safi here, Safi Financial Network. Today is September 8th, 2025. Here is another daily analysis.
Market just carved out a bit today and pretty close to new all-time high. We're still not challenging new all-time high here. So the candle on Friday's session was new all-time high, which is 65.32. Today we close 65.01, and then a future market cash index is just a bit flat uptick today as well. So we're kind of like forming a consolidation here, and we may go another uptick higher. So still looking for a decent correction. I know that I'm telling this, but I'm telling this just because the cycles, everything is coming together that we are forming a decent correction. But right now it doesn't show itself, but lots of names like Google, Apple, they're kind of like forming the top information, and we should see some kind of like a more confirmation down the road. Semiconductors are forming the missed signal as well. So I know Nasdaq was positive, and we will get to that one, but all in all, market is kind of like a diverging, and you see that some stocks, it's kind of like a roller coaster when some kind of like wagons are getting to the downside while the other ones is going upside. But at the same time, it's just forming the top information. And when everyone is just waiting for more uptick or blue off top, you see that the later wagons are getting heading to the downside as well, and the entire market is dragging to the downside. So we will see how it goes. We will have a CPI number this week, which is going to be important, and also September 17 is going to be Fed session, and that is very, very important. All in all, the economy, the job market is looming, and the job market, especially NFP number, is going down. The June a corrected NFP number actually was negative, and that was happening first time after COVID. So that is very, very important. Everyone needs to just keep an eye on that one. All in all, I should say S&P 500 just forming a consolidation, 6,500. We may tackle 65.92, which is going to be another 92 point up. But at the same time, looking for a 5 to 10% correction in October, September. That would be kind of like the healthy scenario for the market. Moving on to Nasdaq, this is 4 hour short. We are kind of like a forming breaking through above this wedge. However, I would say this is kind of like a very similar to the cipher pattern. If you don't know cipher pattern, is make sure that Google it, just because we are forming kind of like the head and shoulder here, but this head and shoulder actually didn't trigger properly. It just bounced back up, and right now it's just getting above this right shoulder. And whenever we get this and to this area, if we are at the bearish tone, which I believe we are, so we may see some kind of like a reversal. But for confirmation, we need to see a strong reversal this week, and it shouldn't go above this head, because if it goes above this head, that pattern is kind of like invalidated, and it's not going to be valid anymore. So we need to see a confirmation as like a drop, and if it drops happen, we need to take out this low. If that low taken out, we're going to see all the way free fall all the way to 21,000 to 20,000 area. So that would be kind of like the scenario that I'm looking at. I'm not sure if that cipher happened or anything else, but I would say again, October, September is going to be kind of like a interesting month for the market, especially when fundamental data are looming at the same side. Dow Jones are forming a better pattern here on the bull side, so bullish consolidation, nothing wrong with chart, and we can see some kind of like a Dow outperforming the rest of the market, while the rest of the market is forming the bearish tone. I would say even in a downside moves, Dow can outperform the market as well. Gold heading new all-time high, future market just break to the record. Here is the box that we were waiting for. Look at our signal. So the signal that we were waiting for was here, and gold nicely going all the way up to here, shooting to sky, 36.56 right now, new all-time high for gold, and that is kind of like a baked into the cake for the next rate cut. We don't know exactly what's going to happen for the rate cut. 25 basis points, that would be a very nice scenario, or very foreseeable scenario. But who knows, if Federal Reserve cut and Federal Reserve panicked and they cut 50 basis points, that would be kind of like the escalation for gold. And I believe that gold and bond market is kind of like a pricing for more than 25 basis points. So we will see how it goes. Silver at the same time just heading higher, silver lagging. But I would say this bullish consolidation is formed for another rally for silver, $42 to $44, and we will see how it goes. But all in all, I should say silver is pretty nice spot for the next rally, and it's kind of like outperforming the gold in the next rally. So silver always late, but when it comes up, it's going to be very fast and furious. Crude at the same time just forming a double bottom here. So we will see if crude is getting back above this pivot, which is $66. That could trigger interesting scenario because that would be a double bottom here, and we are going to see a nice rally all the way up to here. Which geopolitical tensions, as I said, could be a scenario for crude. So we will see for September, October, again, geopolitical tensions could be the scenario for crude. So we will see how it goes. Moving on to individual names, starting with Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons that I'm bearish for the October and September. Why? Because Bitcoin is lagging. Usually Bitcoin goes along with market, and usually it's kind of like have a nice correlation with the market. But you see that Bitcoin is lagging, and right now we're forming a high, a low, and lower high and lower low. So this can trigger another downside move to 9,700 or 97,000, sorry, and 100,000. So that would be the scenario that I'm looking at for Bitcoin, at least for a short term. We can get back to the bear side. Ethereum at the same time, we are not getting to new all-time high. The all-time high just triggered in August and then reversing back down sharply. Right now, it's just consolidating and potentially forming a bear flag for the next move to the downside. 3,400, I would say that's going to be the next support. Bond yield at the same time, just crushing downside. It's forming um, a very, very bearish scenario. This is a nice cup and handle scenario. We may see uptick, just a short-term uptick, and that would be kind of like a sell signal, I would say, for the lower rate, just because look at this nice cup and handle pattern, and this is a very nice scenario for a bears because the TLT at the same time just breaking through to the upside, which has an inverse correlation. And remember, we were kind of like a long TLT for a long time. And right now we see that this is a pretty nice move to the upside. We may see some kind of like a hiccups or kind of like a short-term pullback, but that would be bought very fast, I would say, with buyers. And TLT can go all the way up, I would say, to 93, 94 for a first target, a second target, and it's going to be very, very important one. Is going to be 102 to 105, which I'm betting for this a long time. Moving on to Dixie. Dixie is getting down as well. So I would say dollar is getting weaker and weaker. And VIX at the same time is forming a higher low here. So if we just zoom out here, so you see that VIX is forming a higher low while the stock market is just consolidating. So if stock is getting back down, which I believe that VIX is forming a pretty nice bottom formation. And if we take out these highs, I would say VIX can go all the way up to 27 to 29. That's going to be a spike index and it can go a lot higher. So we will see how it goes with the market. All in all, I should say interesting time is coming and still looking for a correction as a decent buying opportunity because I don't think recession is going to hit this year. But before recession, usually we have a very nice blue off top or parabolic move to the upside, which market still doesn't show that one. All right, folks, I believe I covered everything. If you like this video, please smash the like button, subscribe to our channel. Have a good one. See you on the chart. Bye-bye.